You're listening to Pull Up a Chair, stories from 100 years of creating community in Jewish Baltimore, a podcast created by the Associated Jewish Federation of Baltimore.
The impact that I see on our students is they know they have to become upstanders. They can't allow people to be discriminated against, disrespected, humiliated in any situation where they are present.
Welcome back to Pull Up a Chair. I'm your host, Melissa Gear. Each month, we explore a different theme that illustrates how, for more than 100 years and counting, the Associated Jewish Federation of Baltimore has been a place to turn to in times of struggle or celebration, and for assistance and connection. You'll probably hear some familiar voices as we laugh, reminisce, and learn a thing or two about what it means to build and be a part of a strong Jewish community. For this episode, we commemorate Holocaust Remembrance Day through a unique lens. You'll hear stories from two students and a faculty member at the John Carroll High School, a Catholic preparatory school in Bel Air, Maryland. Decades ago, a program was started to immerse students in the study of the Holocaust that included a trip to the United States Holocaust Memorial Museum in Washington, D.C. Then in 2008, Louise Gatesy, senior project coordinator at the school, reached out to the Baltimore Jewish Council, an agency of the Associated, to connect with Holocaust survivors for a new program called Lessons of the Shoah. Since then, hundreds of students from public, private, and independent schools, as well as John Carroll, have participated. Lessons of the Shoah teaches tolerance and a respect for diversity. Today, the BJC helps secure Holocaust speakers and keynote presenters, works with the school to plan workshops, and helps with other logistics. The program is also sponsored by the Klein Family Foundation. It's been a huge success. Students say that hearing directly from Holocaust survivors has a life-changing impact. Claire Grunwald is one of those students. She graduated from John Carroll in 2016. She was paired up as a student host ambassador with Morris Rosen, a Holocaust survivor and active member of the BJC Speakers Bureau. Sadly, Rosen recently passed away in December 2020.
He lived in Baltimore, and he was kind of a famous legend in Baltimore, I would say. So it was really so inspiring and just shocking to meet someone with such strength, but also happiness. He was so happy and telling me about how he wakes up and does Zumba like every morning. And I was just, after hearing his story, seeing how he can still have such a light was sort of amazing.
Kishan Patel graduated the same year as Claire. His participation in the senior Holocaust experience helped shape the way he conducts himself in the world.
Just hearing these stories, everyone would be moved. Some people would be in tears. And yet, like hearing something that's so sad, it still gave positive vibes. I still remember when the quote, Ida, who's the survivor that I had the honor to be the ambassador to, she said, "Be happier in this country. This is a great country. But don't forget our stories and continue to share our stories and live through our stories." I don't think it's possible to go through that program without just becoming a better human and a better advocate, regardless of whatever your political, religious beliefs are. And that's really the beauty of the program, that you're able to turn these stories as a survivor's wish into something that makes you an advocate, makes you a better person, willing to go out there and put yourself out there for other people.
Gary Scholl has been a teacher and administrator at John Carroll for nearly 50 years. He has witnessed the transformation of many students.
The impact that I see on our students is they know they have to become upstanders. They can't allow people to be discriminated against, disrespected, humiliated in any situation where they are present. I have seen students become truly motivated to help other people in significant ways.
Though Claire and Kishan graduated several years ago, they say that the wisdom imparted by Holocaust survivors and the lessons they've learned from Holocaust history are things they'll carry into the future.
While yes, the Holocaust is part of Jewish history, it is also part of human history. And as humans, we have a duty to learn about human history and how that's affected our neighbors, because we are all human and we all have the same dignity and value and rights. And so learning and being exposed to past transgressions and past injustices and how we can then move forward from them, I think is something to emphasize and something to really focus on as the importance of this program, and something I would pass down to my kids.
My kids are definitely going to know about it, and my kids' friends are going to know about it. I think that's one of the biggest things and impacts that you can make and continue to share to that next generation. And letting my kids know that even if they aren't the ones marginalized, you have a duty to become an advocate and speak up and be there in aid for another person.
One of the things that I am most proud about my 3 daughters is the fact that they have become advocates for human rights and social justice and racial equality. And they were all products of John Carroll. They all went through this Holocaust program. And I believe that what they learned at home and what they learned at school reinforced this effort on their part to be just and fair and work for equality and be open to differences and diversity.
A lot goes into creating the Holocaust Remembrance Program for seniors at the John Carroll School, and many are thankful for it.
This program wouldn't be as special as it is and create as many advocates as it does without the BJC's help in providing Holocaust survivors, enabling them to come and create that connection with Mrs. Gatesy.
This program is unbelievably unique, and I don't think it would be possible without the BJC and, all the work from all different partners and Louise Gatesy as well. Going to college and talking with other, kids from high schools all around the country, there wasn't any program that was similar to this one. They were kind of shocked, actually, that we were able to have such an, intimate and ongoing relationship with the BJC, and like having all these survivors come to John Carroll for this day.
It's clear that the connection with the survivor community was not possible without that kind of support and help. I was at an awards ceremony several years ago in which the Jewish community honored Louise for her work with the Holocaust program at John Carroll, along with a number of other leaders in the Baltimore area. And so it's clear that there is a great deal of mutual respect between Louise and the John Carroll community and the Baltimore Jewish community as well.
Thanks for listening to Pull Up a Chair. I'm your host, Melissa Geer. This podcast was produced for you by the Associated Jewish Federation of Baltimore. From East Baltimore to Forest Park, from Pikesville to Randallstown and beyond, the Associated has been there for the community every step of the way. Don't miss the next episode with more stories from your friends and neighbors in Baltimore's Jewish community. Thanks for listening. You've been listening to Pull Up a Chair, stories from 100 years of creating community in Jewish Baltimore. It's part of the Associated's centennial celebration.